So here's another example of a complete hypothesis test about a population mean when the standard deviation of the population is given, following the state plan due and conclude process. So the principal at a large high school claims that students spend at least 10 hours per week doing homework on average. To investigate this claim, an AP statistics class selected a random sample of 250 students from their school and asked them how long they spent doing homework during the last week. The sample mean, X bar, was 10.8. Given that it is known that the population standard deviation was 4.2 hours, does the data provide evidence that the average amount of time that students spend at this high school doing homework on a weekly basis is actually different than 10 hours? So we weren't given a direction, and we don't base that direction on our sample mean. We just want to know if it's different than 10 hours, which makes it a two-tailed test, so we'll use a not equal to in the alternative. So in the state, of course, we need a null and alternative. Our null hypothesis is always a statement of equality, so we'll say mu is equal to what they claim, 10 hours. The alternative is always a statement of equality, so because of the different than, it's going to be mu is not equal to 10 hours. And of course, we want to define mu to be the average time that students at this high school spend doing homework on a weekly basis. So also in the state, we want to identify the parameters and statistics that have been given to us. So we know our sample size N is 250. Our sample mean X bar is 10.8. And our standard deviation, sigma, is 4.2. We have given you a level of significance of 0.01. Now, if one is not given, you can use 0.05. That's customary. So if they don't give you an alpha level, known as a level of significance, you can use 0.05. That completes our state. Okay, I should have included those in the slide. When we move to the plan, it's the same as it was for our confidence intervals for a mean. So we want to identify the type of test that it is. It is a z-test for a mean because we can use z because the standard deviation of the population is known. We want to check for random. We were told that the random sample of students was selected. Independent, because it's a large high school and we're sampling without replacement, it's reasonable to assume that there are more than 10 times the size of our sample, or 2,500 students, in the population of all students at the high school. And normal, N is definitely sufficiently large, so we can assume normality of our sampling distribution. So that completes our plan. Now, when we go to do the do, I'm going to show you all that's going on in the spreadsheet, but feel free to use the spreadsheet because all you have to do is enter the important values in the blue boxes and it will calculate everything you want to know. What's the z-test statistic? What's the critical value for a two-tailed test? Or what's the p-value for a two-tailed test? Here I'm just going into depth as to what's going on in that spreadsheet. So we start with our test statistic. We know that this is the formula we're currently using. Our X bar is 10.8. Our mu is 10. That's the claimed amount in the null hypothesis. Our sigma was, I believe, 4.2. And our N is 250. So I plug all those values in. Now, if you were computing this by hand, you'd have to put parentheses around your numerator and parentheses around your denominator. But you don't need to compute it by hand because we can do it in our spreadsheet. Now, picture that. In a normal distribution, and this is the standard normal distribution that's counting by z-scores, being more than 3 standard deviations out above the mean is very unlikely. We know there's only about 0.15% in that little tail. But this is a two-tailed test. So we weren't sure if we believe our population mean is more than 10 hours a week or if it's equally as far below the claim of 10 hours a week. That's why we call it a two-tailed test. We're looking, the p-value is the tail both above a z-score of 3.01, but it also includes the area in the tail down below a z-score of negative 3.01. So it's generally harder to reject the null with a two-tailed test because your p-value is more likely to be bigger because it's the area in two tails, not just the area in one tail. No worries, our spreadsheet's going to compute that for us. For those of us with a calculator, though, we have a test menu, which is easier than using the normal CDF command. But the normal CDF command can find the area above your z-score of 3.01, but you have to double it because of the two tails. In Excel, if you were doing this yourself, you'd have to do norm.dist of 3.01 and lower, and since we have and higher here, we'd have to subtract that from 1. But then again, because it's a two-tailed test, we'd have to multiply the area in that one tail by 2 to get the area in both tails. But let's use our spreadsheet. So this is our hypothesis test for a mean spreadsheet, where in the blue boxes we enter everything we know. So n is 250, the claimed population mean is 10, our sample mean was 10.8, and our population standard deviation is 4.2. The level of significance alpha that was given is 0.01. Now, the test statistic is Z, I should say, or T here. It's Z because we know the standard deviation of our population. So our test statistic is 3.01, which is what we got when we did it on our calculator and in Excel on our own. The p-value is for a two-tailed test, so it's doubling the area in the tail above our z-test statistic of 3.01. Now, if we were using a critical value approach, we'd have to come and grab the critical value for a two-tailed test, and that basically means that we will reject the null if our test statistic is further from 0 than the critical value of 2.596. Well, 3.01 is further from 0 than 2.596, so we have unusual results. If the null is really true, it's highly unlikely that we would end up with a sample average this much bigger than 10, or even more bigger in either direction. Okay, I know that's not good English. So those of us with a TI-84, we have that test menu that I referenced. You can go to Stat and over to Tests, and your first option is a z-test for a mean. So you hit either the number 1 or you hit Enter on 1. Here we don't have data, but are rather given some statistics. So mu sub 0 is called mu naught. It's asking us what we said about mu in the null hypothesis. Sigma, of course, is the standard deviation of our population. X bar, the sample mean, and 250. Then you have to tell it the direction of your alternative. Well, we clearly chose a two-tailed alternative because of the different than. Arrow down to calculate and hit enter, or draw. And when you draw, you can see again that the tails are so far out there that they're not even visible. But we're getting the same z-test statistic and the same p-value that we got. Okay, we love that menu. And so for reference, I identified those steps that I just described. So clearly, regardless of which method we are using, we get the same conclusion. And that is that we're going to reject that null, because if the null hypothesis was really true, we would have expected our sample mean to be closer to that claimed value, which would mean we would have expected our test statistic z to be closer to 0, and it wasn't. And if we compare our p-value to the level of significance given, it's clearly smaller, and that's why we're rejecting the null. When p is low, we reject the HO. So we do have convincing evidence to say that the HA is true. The classical approach, our Z of 3.01, was further from zero or out beyond the critical value from our spreadsheet of 2.576. Doesn't matter which approach you use, you reach the same decision. So finally, reject the hoe because P is low. Never accept. Remember, if we do not reject, then we say do not reject or fail to reject. But we do not ever say accept the null. And so we do have enough evidence at the 0.01 level of significance, and then throw in your context to conclude that the students at this high school spend a different amount of time on average studying each week.